Before California became part of the United States, it was known as Alta California, a vast and powerful region shaped by Mexican rule for centuries. Its lands, culture, and borders were defined by Mexico until 1848, when the Mexican-American War came to an end and California was transferred to the United States. But this land is more than a line in history books. There's so much to see across California that covering everything would be impossible. You could make a list of 100 places and still feel like something was left out. So instead of trying to show it all, this video focuses on what truly stands out. The natural wonders that give California its reputation. Let's begin our journey in the heart of California's Sierra Nevada, where one of nature's most iconic formations rises above the land. Towering over Yosemite Valley, Half Dome is a timeless monolith with a sheer vertical face on one side and a rounded dome on the other, carved by glaciers and erosion over millions of years. Far to the south, Peña de Bernal in Mexico rises as a solitary granite giant, mirroring the grandeur of Half Dome. Both monoliths stand as enduring testaments to the Earth's artistry, linking landscapes across California and Mexico and reminding us of the shared beauty and power of these lands. Half Dome has long captured human imagination. Early explorers in the mid-1800s were stunned by its scale and described it as a giant of stone, standing silent and eternal. In 1875, the first documented ascent of its sheer face was made with iron eye bolts drilled into the granite. Climbing Half Dome remains difficult and demanding, and for many older visitors, reaching its heights evokes a deep nostalgia, a return to youthful adventures and the quiet thrill of standing above the world. From the summit, that effort is rewarded with a view that is breathtaking and unparalleled. The valley and surrounding peaks stretch out endlessly, and at dusk, the granite cliffs soften into warm shades. The world quiets, and the sky seems to glow with every fading ray of light. Half Dome is not just a landmark, it is a reminder of nature's patience, human courage, and the quiet power of the earth. Lake Tahoe is a mirror laid between mountains. Scientists estimate that Tahoe is more than 2 million years old. Born from volcanic uplift and shaped over ages by massive Ice Age glaciers. In the early 1900s, several wooden boats were purposely sunk near the northern shore to protect them from harsh storms. The cold, deep water kept them so perfectly preserved that divers later described the lake's floor as an underwater museum. Long before that, a natural dam gave way and Tahoe's water level dropped suddenly, a dramatic shift still visible in the shape of the basin today. Tahoe's story isn't only in its history, it's in the way its beauty strikes the first time you see it. When Mark Twain arrived in the 1860s, he was so stunned by its clarity and stillness that he called it the fairest picture the whole earth affords. More than a century later, that feeling hasn't changed. On a clear day, the water is so pure you can see nearly 70 feet straight down, as if the lake invites you not just to look at it, but to look into it. As the sun begins to set, the lake transforms. golden light spills across the water, softening the surrounding mountains, and a lone boat drifts slowly along the surface. Its reflection shimmers, merging with the colors of the sky, creating a quiet, fleeting moment where everything feels suspended in peace. It's a scene that lingers in memory, a gentle reminder of why Lake Tahoe has captivated visitors for centuries. Big Sur stretches along California's Highway 1, alive in a way that seizes your attention the moment you arrive. The land itself carries a story as old as the Earth. Its cliffs, sculpted by tectonic shifts, volcanic activity, and the relentless shaping of wind and waves. Before Highway 1 was completed in the 1930s, travelers could reach this rugged coastline only by navigating narrow cliffside trails. Among Big Sur's most iconic landmarks is Bixby Creek Bridge, completed in 1932. Soaring 280 feet above a deep canyon, it was hailed as an engineering marvel, connecting isolated communities while preserving the dramatic beauty of the coast. Today, the bridge remains one of California's most photographed landmarks. Driving along Highway 1, Big Sur reveals its wonders at every bend. Towering cliffs plunge into the Pacific, waves shimmering like liquid silver under the sun. The coastline stretches far and wide with secluded coves and jagged rocks scattered across the deep blue waters. Forests cling to the mountainsides, their vibrant green contrasting with the ocean below. From high vantage points, the Pacific seems to melt into the horizon, blurring the line between sea and sky. Each turn offers a fresh perspective, a harmonious blend of raw energy and tranquil beauty. The waves roll in with that slow rhythm, and suddenly you feel as if this ocean is carrying memories from somewhere else. The same Pacific that touches your feet here has brushed the edges of another coastline. A coastline in Mexico that feels strangely familiar, even if you've never been. You look out toward the horizon and for a moment the world blurs. Point Lobos and Baja California seem to overlap, two distant shores breathing in the same language of wind, salt, and endless blue. Along the cliffs, a flock of brown pelicans glides above the water, wings stretch wide, catching the breeze with effortless balance. They settle on the rocks with the calm certainty of creatures who've always belonged here. Down by the shoreline, harbour seals rest in the sand, their quiet breathing blending with the steady rhythm of the waves. In that moment, with the sea breathing below you and the sky opening above you, you feel the thread that ties these places together. The park was established in 1890 to protect the towering giant sequoias. Some of these ancient trees have stood for over 3,000 years, their massive trunks and sweeping branches silently witnessing the passage of centuries, storms, and shifting seasons. Among them, the General Sherman tree stands as the largest tree on Earth by volume, rising over 275 feet tall and more than 36 feet wide at its base. Its sheer scale invites quiet reflection, a reminder of nature's extraordinary power and patience. Sunlight filters through the dense canopy, casting dappled patterns across the forest floor, where ferns, wildflowers, and moss create a soft emerald carpet. Here, the world slows And the sequoias, mountain air, and whispering forest remind you of nature's quiet strength. The history of Monterey Bay is as rich as its waters. Long before it became a hub of tourism, Spanish explorers arrived in the late 1700s, establishing the first capital of Alta California. The bay soon became a center for fishing and trade. Today, Monterey Bay continues to draw people with its timeless beauty. Sea otters float effortlessly, their playful movements mirrored by kayakers gliding quietly along the shoreline, while boats drift gently on the water, catching the soft glow of sunlight. The bay is calm and alive at once, revealing hidden worlds beneath the surface, with houses dotting the shoreline, blending gently with the trees. As evening descends, the sky and sea merge into a seamless ribbon of color, and the gentle rhythm of the waves soothes the soul. Monterey Bay is not just a place to see, it is a place to feel the quiet magic of the ocean. Malibu's name comes from the Chumash word for the waves roar, and for centuries the land was home to people who lived in harmony with the water. In the 1800s, it became part of a Mexican land grant, preserving the coastline's natural beauty for generations. But Malibu has also faced trials. Wildfires have repeatedly swept through the hills, reshaping the landscape and reminding everyone that this beauty is fragile. One of the most devastating in recent history, the Woolsey Fire of 2018, destroyed homes, wildlife habitats, and trails, yet the land endures, slowly healing and revealing its resilience. Today, Malibu continues to balance human life with nature. Surfboards glide across the waves while cars wind along the coastal highway, each turn offering a new glimpse of cliffs and the endless Pacific. From these vantage points, the ocean stretches to the horizon, ever-changing yet eternal. Morning sunlight shimmers across the water, and as evening falls, the cliffs are touched by a soft, golden light. Seagulls chase the sunset across the sky, their graceful movement adding a mesmerizing rhythm to the evening. In Malibu, every ripple and gust feels alive, as if land and sea are breathing together. Mount Shasta is one of the most active stratovolcanoes in the Cascade Range, built over hundreds of thousands of years by layer after layer of lava flows. The mountain last showed significant activity in the late 1700s, when sailors passing along the Pacific coast reported seeing ash rising from its summit, a rare moment when the quiet giant reminded the world of its power. As you draw closer, the landscape softens. At the mountain's base lies Lake Siskiyou, its still surface holding the shapes of nearby trees, doubling the forest in a quiet, dreamlike reflection. Just beyond the lake, the town of Mount Shasta rests where the land begins to rise. In autumn, its streets glow with brilliant shades of amber and red, as if the season itself settles into the town. And then, as winter arrives, Mount Shasta transforms a towering shape draped in soft, white silence. Snow settles along its ridges and old lava flows, smoothing the mountain's jagged lines until it looks almost sculpted by light. The forests surrounding the town turn pale at the edges, and the air carries the crisp stillness you only feel when everything around you is holding its breath. Mono Lake is one of North America's oldest lakes, over 760,000 years old. formed through volcanic activity and shaped by Ice Age forces. Long before modern roads or towns existed, while civilizations rose and fell and cities were built and forgotten, this lake simply continued in its salty embrace, quietly sustaining life in its unique ecosystem. Its waters shimmer in soft blues and silvers, and the towering tufa formations, also called tufa citadels, rise like stone guardians of time. These towers are made of limestone, formed when calcium-rich freshwater springs beneath the lake, mixed with the lake's alkaline water, slowly precipitating calcium carbonate over centuries. Some tufa towers grow over 30 feet high, while others form delicate, intricate shapes, resembling spires or pillars. Though they appear solid and eternal, the tufa formations only develop underwater. Once exposed by falling water levels, they reveal the dynamic and fragile nature of this ecosystem. The lake were diverted, lowering water levels and exposing the tufa towers. Beautiful yet vulnerable. Decades later, conservation efforts and the 1994 court ruling began restoring the lake, allowing its waters and ecosystem to slowly recover. Today, Mono Lake continues to heal, its still waters and surrounding mountains radiating quiet beauty and inviting gentle reflection. The park takes its name from the spiky, twisted Joshua trees. These iconic trees are not only unique to the Mojave Desert, but they also carry an air of quiet resilience, surviving long, harsh summers and cold, star-filled nights. Many of these trees are hundreds of years old, growing slowly and adapting to the desert's extremes, living monuments to patience and endurance. Long before protection, early inhabitants left rock art and stone tools, echoes of a life in tune with the desert. In the 1930s, miners and settlers faced the harsh climate, struggling to make a home. Few could endure, and realistically, no one could live here permanently. When Joshua Tree became a national monument in 1936, and later in 1994, it became a national park. In 2014, a 6.0 magnitude earthquake shook Napa, leaving its mark on buildings and roads, a reminder of the valley's living, dynamic landscape. Yet long before modern events, the valley was home to early settlers who cultivated the land. By the mid-1800s, European immigrants, particularly from Italy and France, brought their knowledge of agriculture, planting the first crops that would shape Napa's future. Even through challenges such as prohibition in the 1920s, the valley endured, slowly evolving into the globally renowned region it is today. Nestled among gentle hills, scattered homes reflect the valley's charm, their rooftops peeking through groves of trees and rolling fields. In the morning, soft sunlight bathes the landscape, illuminating dewy meadows and casting a warm glow. Birds stir in the trees and the quiet hum of life begins, gentle and unhurried. As evening approaches, the golden light deepens, spilling across hills and winding roads in soft shades. Shadows stretch and the air cools, carrying the scent of earth and foliage. Napa Valley is a space to feel, a slow, meditative connection between nature and history. Geologists believe El Capitan began forming over 100 million years ago, deep beneath the surface as molten rock slowly cooled into solid granite. Over countless ages, glaciers carved through this valley, revealing the massive cliff we see today. Standing at nearly 3,000 feet from base to summit, El Capitan is one of the largest exposed granite monoliths in the world. Its scale once puzzled early explorers in the 1800s, who described it as a stone fortress far larger than anything they had imagined. The formation was named El Capitan, Spanish for the Captain. Over time, the name stayed, and the monolith became a symbol of the American West's raw, enduring beauty. El Capitan is also central to the history of modern climbing. The first successful ascent of its most famous route in the late 1950s took 47 days, spread over 18 months, a feat that changed the history of climbing forever. Since then, climbers from around the world have come here to test themselves, and as evening arrives, the cliff face catches the last light, glowing softly before fading into shadow, as if the mountain itself is exhaling the long day. The town's recorded history began in the early 1800s, when Spanish settlers passed through these rugged slopes. But Laguna truly found its soul in the late 19th century, when artists began arriving, drawn by something they couldn't quite explain: the softness of the ocean light, the peaceful isolation. Laguna has also witnessed the power of nature firsthand. Severe storms in 1933 reshaped sections of the coastline, carving new cliffs and hidden coves, reminding all who live there that the land itself is alive, constantly shifting and evolving. Today, Laguna Beach feels timeless, each moment lingering in quiet beauty. Morning sunlight shimmers across the waves, while houses perched along the coastline catch the gentle light in their windows. As evening falls, California sunsets ignite the sky and ocean in fiery hues, painting the cliffs and homes in a warm, radiant glow that seems to hold the day in perfect stillness. The first European accounts of this coastline date to the late 1700s, with explorers marveling at its sheltered bays and mild climate. By the early 1800s, a small settlement began to grow here, shaped by ranchers, sailors, and craftsmen, who built their homes along this peaceful curve of the shore. Slowly, the foundations of a city took form, guided by the climate and endless Pacific landscape. History left a lasting mark in 1925, when a strong earthquake struck the city. Rather than rebuild haphazardly, the city embraced white walls and terracotta roofs inspired by early coastal architecture, creating the timeless charm it still carries today. Stretches into the Pacific since 1872, once the longest deepwater pier between Los Angeles and San Francisco. It carried goods, passengers, and even early automobiles. Today, it stands as one of California's oldest working piers, winding along the coastal roads. The view of the city and ocean unfolds with effortless beauty. The Pacific stretches endlessly, shifting from deep blue to silvery green. Out on the bay, dozens of boats float quietly, transforming the water into a serene canvas. As evening arrives, Santa Barbara glows under a warm, golden sky. The waves slow, light shimmer on the water, and history folds quietly into the present. The city's story began in the late 1700s, when the first settlers arrived, but it was during the California gold rush of 1849 that San Francisco truly surged to life. People came from across the world, carving streets into steep hills, building neighborhoods, and shaping a place alive with ambition, diversity, and energy. Yet the city's story is not just about growth, it is about resilience. The city's story began in the late 1700s when the first settlers arrived, but it was during the California gold rush of 1849 that San Francisco truly surged to life. People came from across the world, carving streets into steep hills, building neighborhoods, and shaping a place alive with ambition, diversity, and energy. Yet the city's story is not just about growth, it is about resilience. That resilience was tested in 1906 when a 7.9 magnitude earthquake shook the city. More than 3,000 lives were lost, with over 80% of the city damaged. From this devastation, the city rebuilt itself, blending strength with elegance. Among its most iconic landmarks is the Golden Gate Bridge, completed in 1937. Its red-orange towers rise from the strait, spanning sky and water, a symbol of human ambition meeting nature's grandeur. From the city's pathways down to the edge of the bay, the landscape unfolds in layers. The water glimmers under the sunlight, boats drift gently across the bay, and as evening falls, the buildings catch the warm glow of the setting sun. When night arrives, the entire city shimmers in a soft golden light, vibrant yet peaceful. San Diego stretches along Southern California, where the Pacific meets the land. Founded in 1769, it is one of the oldest settlements in California, with a history shaped by exploration, trade, and its natural harbor that has long connected the city to the wider world. The city's waterfront is dotted with boats, gently rocking as they reflect the sunlight during the day, and as night falls, streetlights cast a golden glow along the waterfront, their reflection shimmering on the calm water, turning the harbor into a quiet, luminous scene. While the skyline merges, creating a layered panorama of sea and sky. Beyond San Diego, La Jolla Cove is a hidden gem, its name, meaning the hollow, from the natural bowl sculpted by wind and waves over millennia. In the late 1800s, small boats ventured into its calm waters, explorers captivated by its serene beauty. Today, the cove remains so enchanting that anyone who comes here feels a quiet longing, as if leaving would mean stepping away from a place perfectly at peace. Lake Shasta has long been shaped by volcanic activity, tectonic shifts, and the gradual carving of canyons over millions of years. The lake was formed in the 1940s when the Shasta Dam was completed, creating one of the largest reservoirs in the state and transforming the landscape into a place of beauty. Before the dam, the area was home to early settlers and travelers who navigated the steep valleys and rocky terrain. The construction of the dam itself was a remarkable engineering achievement. Lake Shasta is a refuge for water lovers and nature seekers alike. Boats glide along the calm waters while the lake's edges reveal soft, sandy textures perfect for quiet moments by the shore. Surrounding forests and mountains embrace the lake, their reflections shimmering on the surface as the light shifts through the day. The hills, blanketed in green trees, rise gently around the water, adding depth and tranquility to the scene. Lake Shasta is more than a place to witness beauty. It is a space to feel it. As I mentioned at the beginning of our video, California's history is deeply connected to its landscapes and the people who recognized their value early on. Before California became part of the United States, it was under Mexican rule. In the mid-1800s, explorers entered its wilderness and were awed by Yosemite Valley's grandeur. So remarkable was its beauty that in 1864, President Abraham Lincoln signed the Yosemite Grant, the first land in U.S. history preserved solely for its natural wonder, laying the foundation for the national park system, creating a legacy of conservation that continues to this day. The valley itself tells an even older story. Its cliffs were forged in fire as molten granite slowly cooled deep beneath the Earth's surface. Over millions of years, glaciers carved and polished the rock, leaving sheer walls that rise dramatically from the valley floor. Yet Yosemite's essence is not captured in history alone. It lives in the delicate mist of Yosemite Falls, tumbling over ancient granite. In the reflective quiet of the Merced River, carrying the sky and cliffs like a mirror. In the stillness that drifts through meadows and pine forests, here even silence feels alive. Intimate, almost familiar, like a memory from a dream you once had.